Hi, this is Karen with Karen's Cards and More, and today we're going to make this card. I had a few things in mind, objectives that I was trying to meet when I created this card. Number one, my birthday is in July and rubies is my birthstone, so I wanted to feature red. I also wanted to use the Very Versailles stamp set. I think this is such a beautiful stamp set, so elegant. A variety of uses. Thinking of you, have a beautiful day, which could encompass a lot. You could even use that on the front and then write a get well greeting, or, you know, if somebody had a surgery, you're still wishing them a beautiful day. And then thank you. So a lot you can do with this set. So if you do not have, if you're looking for that one set that you need to have, I would say this is one of them, Very Versailles. So we're going to be using that. And then the other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to use the new decorative mask, which is what they're called in our catalog, otherwise called a stencil. You might call it a stencil. We had 4 that we had before, and then in the catalog that came out in June, we had added 4 more. And these are just gorgeous. I love the different looks that you can get here. I definitely want to do some more playing with these, but I love these. So I wanted to show you a use for those as well. So let's talk about what we used to make this card. Our card base is a piece of very real red, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we're also going to need a piece of black that is 5 1/4 by 4. We're going to need a piece of basic white that is 5 1/4 by 4, and that's going to be our inside panel. I just did some simple stamping to tie it into the stamp set and left plenty of room to write. So that's going to be our inside panel. And then our front panel is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. So that's the pieces. And then I also used the stitched circle dies, and I used the second and third smallest. You can see the smallest one is here, and I used the second and third smallest. The smaller of the two I die cut from the basic white, and the larger one I die cut from the black. So I have those as well that we're going to be using. So let's get right to our stamping. And I am going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. I love to have a piece of scrap paper underneath me. So I'm going to start with the inside panel, and I'm using our biggest block. If you do not have this block, you can still do this project. You can use your Stamparatus if you have that and accomplish the same thing. So I'm using real red ink. I know leaves aren't, except in some leaves in the fall get red, but typically they're not red, but I just wanted to tie the card together. So I'm going to ink this up. And I'm just going to, I just want to put this on this side, and I am tilting it just a little. And I'm going to stamp that down, just like that. So our inside is already done. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this off because I need the block. And I'm just using, I have a chamois that's wet that I keep in a box. So whatever you use to clean your stamps, you just want to wipe that. I'm going to wipe that off so I can put it back and get the other large one that we're going to be using for this card. So let's go ahead and do some more stamping. Okay, let's go to the little circle, and I'm going to move this until I need it again. We're just going to stamp on the white circle. We're going to do have a beautiful day, and we're just using black Memento ink. And what's nice about circles is you can turn the circle if you get it crooked. Sometimes when we put the labels, and a lot of people don't even put the labels on there, they just go by the shape. But if you get that off and you stamp by what you see, it can be crooked. You got to stamp by the shape of the stamp. You got to look at your stamp and see, okay, what makes it straight, and you got to go by that instead of the sticker, because the sticker may not have been put on straight. It's very hard to get it exactly straight. But with a circle, it doesn't matter. You just turn your circle, right? So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm just tapping on there to get my ink. Okay. And I'm just going to come in and put this in the middle, and I'm going to stamp it down. Just like that. We're done with that. Okay, so let's work on our inside panel. The first thing I did is I wanted to use a gray, because I have black, but I didn't want the full strength black, so I'm using a basic gray. Now, every ink pad that you have, you can get multiple colors depending on if you stamp it full strength or if you stamp off and then stamp on your project. So you can get a lot of different colors. You could go ahead and use a lighter gray, but I wanted to show you, I wanted to use the basic gray so I could show you how just by stamping off, you can have a lighter gray. So you have a lot more shades of ink than just the numbers of pads that you have just by stamping off, okay? So I just want to bring this in, and I'm using the script in the Very Versailles. There's this script, and I'm going to be using that. I'm going to bring my scrap paper back because I am going to stamp off. I'm just going to put this on here, and I know the white on white probably makes it a little difficult to see. I need to find some colored scrap paper. And a lot of times with these big stamps, it's easier to turn the stamp over and tap with your pad like this. And I'm going to stamp off so that I have a lighter gray. And all I'm worried about with this is trying to get it straight. I don't want my writing to be crooked. So I'm just going to stamp that down. And I'm going to repeat this process. This is just to give us a background. So I'm going to just repeat this process. Just like that. And I don't want to stamp directly on top of what I already stamped. I want to stamp beneath it. So I'm going to come in with some more ink. I'm going to stamp off. And I'm going to stamp this here. And one more time. Stamp off. And then I'm going to come in. And this is just to give us a background. And I'm going to stamp right there. Okay, we're done with that. Now is the fun part. Now we're going to use the mask. And what I'm going to do for this, I'm going to use the Real Red. And what I did for this, and I'm going to keep my scrap paper under here because I'm going to go off the edge. I just have some purple tape, some low-tack tape, and I'm using the more ornate of the flowers. And I'm just going to tape this down. Just right on my scrap paper. I'm going to come in with the Real Red. And I'm going to be using my blending brush. And I'm just going to go lightly over the whole image. Just going lightly. You can always darken it if you choose to, but if you start too dark, you have nowhere to go. And so when I get down to the part that's running into the next one where I don't want to get ink from the next one, I'm just going real slow over that. I want to get down into this. I think I've got good coverage there. And then I wanted this, I don't know if you can see the pattern of this flower in the center, but I wanted that to be darker. So I'm just going to come in a circular motion, just right on that center, because I want to darken that. So you see how that's darker and then this is lighter down here, and that was on purpose. I wanted to do that. So then I'm just going to move my stencil or decorative mask. And again, I'm just going to put it down with the low-tack tape, and I'm going to repeat the process down in this bottom corner. Just going lightly to get that light pink look. Just going softly over that so I don't get it off where I don't want it. And then I'm going to ink up again, and I'm just going to go over the middle, just in a circular motion there in the middle, because I want that to be darker. Let me pull this up. And you can just, with the same chamois that you clean your stamps with, you just wipe this off and then it's ready to go again. Okay, so there we have it. We have our mask done, and I love the way you can variegate the color by going lighter and then darker, and it just gives you such a neat look. Okay, so then in this Very Versailles set, there's this border looking image, and I'm going to use the black memento for this. And I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm going to fill in these side pieces. And I'm just going to stamp that. And I'm meaning to stamp off the side. So I'm just going to scoot this over, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. I know my ribbon's going in the middle, so I don't want to put it directly in the middle. So I'm going to come down here and do that. Okay, we've got our stamping done. We're ready to put this thing together. This doesn't take a real long time, but you get such neat look with this. And that's what I like. I like cards that really look technical, really look like I did a lot, but they're not real time consuming. So I'm gonna come in with my adhesive, my Stampin' Seal. And I'm just going to put my adhesive on the back of our front panel that we stamped. And I'm going to adhere this, trying to go for even, just like that. Now, I'm going to be using this real red ribbon that has the white in it, and I wanted to do 2 lines across the middle. Now, you could put this around and just wind it around the back, wind it around, but you're wasting a lot of ribbon on the back that will never be seen. So what I like to do, so I can save some ribbon, I'm just gonna run some adhesive down the middle. And I'm going to take my end, figure out where I want it in the middle. And I'm just going to press that end into that adhesive. And then I'm going to just pull it tight. And I'm untwisting because I want it to lay flat. And I'm just going to try to get it straight. And then I'm going to bend it around the back and lay it in that adhesive. And then I'm just going to make a little loop and press that back down in that adhesive. So I just have this loop instead of coming all the way around the back and wasting ribbon, okay? And I'm going to make that a little bit closer because I want them to be side by side. Just like that, so that I can loop around and keep it right up against that other piece. And then I'll just come in with my scissors and trim this, and then just press it down in that adhesive. And then you can move them a little bit if you need to. If that middle is gapping, that won't matter because we're gonna put the sentiment layer right on there, so you won't see that. Okay, so let's adhere this to the card. And what I do when I do this is I come back with this adhesive and I go right over that ribbon. That helps hold it down, and that'll help it stick to the card. So I'm just going to come through with my adhesive, again, right over that ribbon. And I'm going to bring in my card base. And line this up. Like that. And I got it a little bit. When I put it down, I got it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift this side just a little bit, just so I can move that together. And it wouldn't have to be. If you wanted a little bit of space in there, you could have that. But I'm just going to move it just a little bit. There. And press that back down. Okay, now I'm going to bring in our inside piece, and I'm going to do the same thing with that. I'm going to add some adhesive. Making sure that I get it on the same, going the same direction. And I'm just going to line this up. Plenty of room to write my greeting. Close that. And then all we have left is our sentiment. And I'm going to come in with my Stampin' Seal and just put a little on the back of the white layer. And try to center it on my black layer. That's probably one of the harder things, is trying to center a circle. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my dimensionals and my Take Your Pick tool. If I can find where I put it. Right there in front of me. So I'm going to come in with that. And I'm going to just add my dimensionals on the back. Just like that. Remove my paper. And I'm ready to put this on the card. And see, you can hold those together when you put this down, and those dimensionals are going to help to keep it where you want it. Just like that. There you have it. The card is finished. Really easy card to put together, but just beautiful and elegant. I love the way it turned out. I loved playing with the decorative masks. I hope you'll give this a try. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, go to my online store, karensmith.stampinup.net. You can order any of these things that you've seen me use today. You can order them there. Check out my Facebook group, my Facebook page. If you're new to my channel, you can subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you see, and I'll know to go in that direction with more cards. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will craft with you again soon.